we must fall in love with resources and money in order for the universe to bring us this blessing. And you might like, hey, aren't we fall in love with money, right? We all love money. Consciously, maybe, but subconsciously, definitely not. How often, when you log into your bank account, how often do you talk to the support team of your bank? You feel frustrated, or you feel lack of nothing having enough, or when you look at money, you connect your feelings of stress to that money resource. So imagine money in our reality or in our consciousness, in our body. We are connecting with these negative emotions. And when these negative emotions are connected with money, how can we bring in the higher frequency of love to connect with the money? And in order for us to call more in. So the question here, Rosie, I guess is about how do we clear these negative feelings associated with money? That's the first thing. And how do we call in and anchor the frequency of love with money so we can call in more? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think the first starting point is to just notice how you speak about money. It's like you say, how do you feel about engaging with your money? Do you find it easy to spend? Do you find it difficult to spend? Do you find it easy to receive? Difficult to receive? Do you find it easy to save? Difficult to save? Like, just pay attention to that and actually how you speak about money. Because just to give you an example, my dad has said his whole life, I don't care for money. I don't care for money. As far as he's concerned, money is the root of all evil, which is the subject of another video. But essentially what he's done is he's pushed money away the whole time because his perception of money is that basically people who have money are not good people, or, that somehow it makes you less amiable, less approachable, less whatever, right? So he's got some stuff around it, but it's led to him having a really challenging relationship with money and never having enough of it, right? And problems with it. So paying attention to that is very important. And I think what helps to make the shift is to see money as energy. It is just energy. It is a currency of what I would call gratitude because we exchange it, right, for other things. So the question is, when you're in love with something, you are open to it, you are receptive to it, you are allowing it, accepting it. When you're not in love with someone, when you hate it or you resent it or you resist it on any level, you have judgments about it, you're in a state of contraction. Now, you can't receive in a state of contraction, right? It's all shut down. So being open to falling in love with money means separating the judgment about money, like, because we have this idea, is money good or is it bad? And it's neither, it's neutral. It's actually what you do with it, right? So what you do with it determines basically not whether it's bad, but whether you've contributed to something that is supporting our evolution or supporting our degeneration, right? So there's so much judgment, there's so many words that we use that basically keep us prisoner to other people's beliefs that we've inherited or we've decided to conform with without questioning whether or not it's right. And a lot of this is to do with acceptance. If you suddenly start having money around people who don't have money, what are they going to think of you? What are the other issues you're going to encounter? Like, is everyone going to start coming to you expecting you to pay for everything? There's all this stuff that you don't even think about exploring because you don't want to have to deal with those challenges. So it's easier just to go, I don't like money. Money causes problems. Money is the problem, but money is not the problem. It's what we do with it.
I guess you just perfectly named that belief, a very subconscious belief. When I work with my clients, they always say, yeah, money is annoying. Money gives me more trouble. And when I did my regression myself, I remember what the reason why I procrastinate. And I'm sure many of you guys watching here are either entrepreneur or you're self-employed or building a healing business or already in a healing business. And many people came to me for my RTT practice. They would say, I want to clear this procrastination or imposter syndrome. And quite often when I regress them, including myself, the story was, yeah, Rosie, if I earn more, I remember the scene, the first day I earned from a proper company in a school. The same day my mom asked me for £8,000, sorry, £800 to buy a dancing package for her. No offense, mom, but that was the first conditioning. If I have more, I need to give more because that's good. And now I realize it is stopping me because I know if I expand more, there I must give it to my mom more, and I'm holding on to that past negative emotion in me that kept me stuck for a long time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, exactly. I mean, we have these, there's so many different beliefs around money that we've inherited. You know, one of it is with more money comes more responsibility, more money's more bill, more money, more bills. You know, we've made all these associations that we keep energizing every time we talk about them, right? And typically, when you do expand beyond your usual income, you know, level, if you like, there'll be some kind of subconscious resistance that plays out that needs to be worked through. If it is an unexpected bill, if it is someone asking for money, whatever. But ultimately, the more we have, the more we have to give, right? That doesn't mean we are going to leave ourselves out. It means we get used to being generous with ourselves. And when we're generous with ourselves, we can also be generous with others. But you and I both know that this relationship with money is quite complex, right? It's like a human being, you know, and the complexity of a relationship there as well. So there's quite a lot to unpack. And we need to make that fun, because actually here's another thing: the difference between the wealthy and the not wealthy is the not wealthy take money very seriously because it's in rarity, it's there's not a lot of it, whereas people who have got a lot of money can afford to play with it. They lose a bit, they lose a bit. And so seeing it as energy just really helps, and moving beyond the judgment, as we said. But the other thing to consider is the energies, the money energies, the frequencies of money, having this relationship with money. Like, what would it feel like to know you've always got plenty for the things you want to buy or you want to experience or the things you want to pay for, and you don't have to get the cheapest option? What would that feel like to go, oh, let's go on holiday and let's go business and let's plant a few trees as well so we can offset our carbon footprint? You know, like, wouldn't that feel good? You know, it's like, what's going to feel good for you? And I've had to notice where I find it challenging. You know, it's like, if I've got money in my purse, in my wallet, like, you know, I don't want to spend it because then there's less in there, and I like having the money, right? And then what else? It's like, it's so easy to move credit money around in a slightly different way. It's not so real, but that real hard cash, it's like, what would it feel like to always have a wad of cash in your wallet? So, you know, you see a homeless person, you can give them 20 quid, you can, or $20, whatever it is for you. You know, you encounter something you want to purchase, you can, you're just open and you're playful. It's very, very different to, we don't talk about money. And typically it's that relationship at home that starts. You know, how did your family talk about money? Was it talked about? Was it an energy that felt constrictive? Like, could you ask for what you wanted and needed? Did it always get met with something serious and a load of questioning, etc., etc.? So to fall in love with money is actually, I'm going to dare to say, falling in love with yourself, right? It's like
Yeah.
giving to you, because it's not actually about the money. It's about, you say, time, falling in love with time, right? Falling in love with love itself. It's about changing your perception of whatever this is, and recognizing that your perception of it is a conditioned perception, a conditioned response that you haven't consciously chosen. And
And
not at an age. Sorry, go on.
And Rosie, when you mention relationship with money, that makes me think of when we have relationship with others. When we meet a toxic partner, we just disengage and try to find another partner. Or sometimes when we are trying to build a relationship with our partner, we can actually use the same principle. When we build a relationship with a new person, we will look into what they do, we will ask them questions to understand more, we will look at them in the front and back and bottom and upwards. So I guess falling in love with money is exactly the same. How often do we really look into what finance is like? How often do we look into what the management strategy like? How often do we try to be resourceful and plan different things, or start to learn about the financial world that we are living in?
Absolutely. And you know, what you're describing is, like you said, about having a toxic relationship. ending it, and then going to try and find another relationship without examining why that relationship was toxic. It's so easy to blame the other or the thing, right? Rather than actually to say, well, how did I contribute to that breakdown of relationship? How did I contribute to attracting that kind of partner? And this isn't about fault and blame, it's just about learning. So if you want to have a different relationship, i.e., you want to go from hating money to loving money, or from money being in scarcity to being in abundance, you're going to have to learn how to have a different relationship with it. And that's a conscious mind thing, a subconscious mind clearing, and a super, like, bringing your soul, your spirit into it. In another video you mentioned about, the images we've always had of Christ, for example, is that he was, poor, that he was treated badly, that he didn't have a lot. And in every religion you can look at the stories and say, well, were these sages, these prophets, wealthy? How did they relate to us about money? What did they teach us about money? Because the kingdom of heaven is apparently utterly abundant, right? Everything you could possibly want. It's not a place that you live frugally, right? So do we not want to claim that kingdom of heaven here on earth and actually live as our divine selves? There's so much here. I hope it's exciting you, because it's big, isn't it?
Absolutely right. And as you mentioned, people jump from relationship to another one, hoping another man could solve the problem. And in the financial world, in our career, including myself, I used to jump career from different one, hoping to earn more money in order to improve my relationship with money. But that never works, because when I earn more, still it is the same. My bank account at the end of the day just back to zero, even though I earn 2 times more. So it's not about changing the job on the outside in order to build a better relationship with money, to fall in love with money. It is actually look inwards, as you said, Rosie, to find out what are things that I need to fine tune in order for me or us to build a better relationship with finance.
Yeah, give yourself permission to have more.
Mm.
What is it? I've had to notice this in myself. In my first business, it was like everyone else got paid, and I ended up with like 100 quid a week to live off, right? It's just like crazy. You'd think I had loads of money, right? I was living in a beautiful 4-bedroom house that was my parents', not mine. The way it looked and the way it was so different. And I felt compelled, because I was blessed. I was lucky with this support to give even more, rather than to learn how to support myself better with what I had. It was like bypass me, everyone else but me. And that was something I had to examine. Now, again, it's like, when you haven't given yourself permission to have enough, or more than enough, I should say, you will only ever have enough, right? So what does more than enough look like for you? More than enough love, more than enough time, more than enough opportunities. Like, that means you've then got to be selective.
I get it now, Rosie. So it is about actually giving ourselves permission to fall in love with ourselves first, knowing that we deserve more and we can expand and we can have more than enough. Then we can fall in love with money too.
Yeah, baby, that's it. That's it. And I think, yeah, let's conclude this and just say, play around, right? Just because something is the way it is doesn't mean it's the way it has to be. You are going to have to challenge yourself to think differently, to see things differently, to encounter the problems that come along differently, because they're just opportunities to realign any misalignment. And I'm still learning myself in terms of giving myself more and allowing myself to absorb it, rather than just push it straight out again on something else that I need to purchase. Like, what do I want to do with this? And often it brings up feelings of guilt, right? Because I have more when others have less. And we're going to do another video on that you can check out. But working with guilt is very important, because others are suffering. Does that mean you should suffer as well to meet them in their suffering? Or are you better off moving beyond that suffering so that you can help them move beyond their suffering?
Hey, my friend, thank you so much for tuning in with us today. And if you would like to build a better relationship with money, we would like to invite you to join our free course called Ethical Billionaire Lightworkers. Not only you can bring your juicy questions to our weekly catch-up points, but also, we have prepared a series of subconscious reprogramming meditation for you to expand your awareness and a few modules to help you become a finance master of your life. And I will see you there.